Hello everyone, this is Rupa Jha from the Business Blueprint powered by Black Swan Business Setup Services. Today we have a lawyer in the house and it's my pleasure to introduce Devanand Mahadeva. He's director of Kaden Boriss Law Firm and he has been working in UAE for almost more than a decade. Welcome Devanand.
Pleasure is mine.
Marriages in the past, they never thought of prenup. Is this lack of trust?
The world has become more materialistic.
Yeah.
Or people have become more materialistic.
If let's say there's no will in place, they don't think about it a lot, but the consequences are really very heavy. Do they automatically it goes to the family?
For a non-Muslim, the UAE civil law will apply, and for Muslims, the Sharia will apply mandatorily.
So in business succession, what do you think at what stage of business entrepreneurs should plan it?
Very straightforward. Day one. Day one is when you have to have these documents in place.
Once they're registering will in UAE, can they also include their assets, properties, businesses in other countries as well, or will it be applicable only for UAE?
It all depending on their nationality, how we make wills in this country.
And when it comes to minor children, what happens then?
They inherit as minors, but they can't use it. It gets frozen and locked.
So now, obviously, when it comes to marriages, obviously, there's a sad part that follows sometimes for some people. It's divorces. Because alimony is a very a sensitive topic.
We don't use the word alimony in this country.
Okay.
We use the word maintenance.
Daily life hack you would like to give people so that they are prepared for these kind of situations.
I would always say get proper advice and get professional advice. People tend to get advice from everybody in the family. Take informed decisions after getting the right advice from the right professionals than taking your own self-medication
Very true.
or relying on Auntie Google or Uncle Wikipedia.
Since you are somebody who's seeing this up and close, because obviously people like us will, even if this will be once in a lifetime experience mostly, but then since you're seeing so many people, just wanted to know that what do you think how this generation is thinking, and why like marriages in the past they never thought of prenups, but nowadays it's a trend. For some it's a must. So what you think, what is this lack of trust? Is it there more awareness on finances? What is making them do these prenups?
No, the thing is, as the world went on and moved on, the world has become more materialistic.
Yeah.
Or people have become more materialistic, isn't it? I mean, when you look at previous generations, they didn't have so much of a requirements, even a TV or a fridge or a car or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, requirements are very
Different.
different.
On a different level.
Yeah, if you don't change your mobile in every 3 years, it becomes obsolete.
Yeah.
Maybe I change once in 3 years, but there are youngsters who change every year. That has become more materialistic, and that's a reason for people separating their assets so that it's only a prenuptial agreement. What you have to understand, it's only an exit clause in a contract.
Right. And to be safe and protect what's yours.
Protect what is yours and what is hers or what is his.
So now, obviously, when it comes to marriages, obviously, there's a sad part that follows sometimes for some people. It's divorces. As you are also handling divorces in UAE, first of all, can they also register their divorces? And if yes, what is the situation of? Because alimony is a very a sensitive topic, and people know very less about it and how it works in UAE. So is there any difference between how it works in other countries and UAE?
As I told you, law is very jurisdictional and geographical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all different in each country. This whole thing is treated, how a divorce is treated.
Right.
So when you look at UAE as such, you can get divorce, whichever nationality you are, whichever religion you are, you can apply for divorce in this country. In fact, it is far smoother and easier to do that. Not much of a complication, because in many countries, they will ask for a lot of reasons.
Right.
So there goes about a lot of mudslinging in marital
yes, they give you a timeline, 1 year, 2 years.
Timeline of waiting plus marital disputes. There are a lot of accusations, mudslinging, and all those things. Where the advantage in UAE is that you get a no-fault divorce. One of the spouses can go into court and say, "I want a divorce," and they will never ask you for a reason. You don't have to give a reason, because as far as law is concerned, marriage is a contract. Yeah, we may have different religious connotations to it, different philosophical connotations to marriage, but as far as law is concerned, marriage is a contract. So you are going to break a contract. So what happens is that if one of the party is not ready to be part of the contract, we don't have a marriage left.
Right.
So that is the concept here. So you can have a no-fault divorce in this country. It doesn't become very sticky as such.
So since you're seeing these situations, what are the most common situations when things actually get sticky or when things actually get ugly? Like, are you seeing any trend in any common issues among all?
Yes, see, it is like this. We always advise when clients come and, when a lot of water has gone under the bridge, it's the marriage is not reversible or you cannot patch it up. In some cases, some of the clients come with very frivolous reasons and we tell them go and see a marriage counselor or a psychologist.
Okay.
I'm not the guy for you.
Okay, so it has happened that you
It
said
has
that.
happened, yeah.
Please don't come to me.
Almost 10 to 20% of my cases happens that way.
Okay.
I tell them go and see a psychologist. But when it comes to cases where there is no way of patching it up, and then we have to go in for the formality of going through the divorce. But we always try our best to make it mutual.
Okay.
So that both parties come to table, they discuss, decide, and they get on with things. We don't use the word alimony in this country.
Okay.
We use the word maintenance. Okay. So what happens, even there are maintenance claims, we try to solve it, sort it out, and mutually agree on what can be done.
And try to make it as fair as possible.
Yes. But if it is not mutual, then of course we have to go into court and allow a judge to decide. First step is if you have a mutual this thing, a judge never gets into your life or the law doesn't get into your life. You have a mutual agreement and you walk your ways. People always talk about, what law will apply. Is it UAE law? Is it my country's law? Her country's law? His country's law? Various things they will ask about. Now, if you're having a mutual separation or divorce, there is no law involved here. You decide what you want to do and you get on with your life.
Right.
But only when you have a dispute, then you pass it to the judge and the judge has to decide.
So what do you do? Do you have to use a magic wand to make that? Because when two people come and who are ready to kill each other, and at that time you have to make it mutual, what do you do? How do you manage
it's more
that?
of a counseling and telling them about the repercussions of fighting.
Okay.
Instead of going into a fight, if you don't do it, what is the advantage? And if you do it, what is the disadvantage of fighting with each other?
Right.
So that is the thing we take care of.
Try to focus on. So that fear works.
But the biggest challenge here is that in many cases, they're influenced by others. The couple is influenced by others.
Parents,
friends, colleagues, whatever it is, or other considerations. And the most disturbing thing is they use many a times the children as pawns. They use them as pawns to negotiate things, to fight over, because both the husband and wife are sentimental towards the children. Right. So when they're sentimental towards the children, they start fighting.
So when it comes to child custody, so UAE, is there any biasness towards mother or father, or is it like towards the...
Legally, if you ask, as of today's laws, the custody goes joint.
Okay.
The father and mother get joint custody. That is the latest law in the country. Unless they mutually agree that one of the parent will take care of the child as a custodian.
Okay.
General terms, the father is the guardian and father has to pay for all the expenses. Unless the father is not available or he has left the place or something like that, then the mother has to take care. But otherwise, father is the guardian of the child. But when it comes to custody, they can mutually agree on who will take care of the custody. But we always advise, if the children are very young, for the mother to have custody than the father, because of obvious reasons. Mother can take care of them better than the father, in a general terms, all around the world.
So in home countries where people, like especially in a country like India, where people are living in joint families and all, so obviously a lot of other reasons, family and all, becomes a reason of the divorce. Now in UAE, where most of the expats are living, together, alone, away from their families, couples are staying together alone, like the nuclear families. So now here, what are the most common reasons that you see for divorces? Is it like, they are not giving time to each other? Are there, both of them taste another freedom, wants to be free? Or is it a blame game on who takes the responsibility of the kid? What are the most common reasons that you see?
One of the main reasons in UAE is financial.
Okay.
When the financial contribution is not equal, or when the financial contribution becomes a burden of one of the spouses, and when they're a family which can survive only in a double income situation, it becomes a strain. So that becomes one of the main reasons. And the other reason is, the responsibility of expanded family. Like as you rightly said, when you have a joint family or you have parents to support you, you have siblings to support you, what happens is that the challenge of bringing up children becomes easier.
Yeah.
Where it becomes a big challenge in this country.
Yes.
Because you're on your own, you may have to take a child care facility and things like that. So that brings a lot of burden on, especially young couples. So young couples, they should always, I always tell them, like, be prepared before you have a child.
Right.
It's not only physical, it's a lot of mental
You should be
pressure.
Physically fit, mentally ready, and financially
Supportive. So you have to be ready for that to take care of a child.
Right.
Because bringing up a child on your own, and in this part of the world, it's not easy because of even financial implications of schooling and things like that.
All right. So now that we have spoken of marriages and divorces, and now like just hearing about it, and I'm feeling the pressure. So I really want to know what has been your takeaway from these situations that you're seeing every day. What do you take away to your home that okay, these are the things I must do or must not do to keep my relationships healthy in my house or with my friends and families?
Yeah, you're just right hit at home. Yeah.
So
See, the thing is, what I do is when I leave my office, I forget my profession. For the basic reason, because the amount of time you spend on counseling people and all these trouble of different families, you don't want to be disturbed with all those thoughts.
right.
But as you rightly asked about what is your take home, is that take life on the stride. It's not worth breaking your head over various things.
Yeah.
Just take it on the stride and get on with life. It's only one life to live and get on with it.
Oh, wonderful. And I think we see that in your lifestyle, knowing you for so long.
Yeah.
You are a Rotarian.
Yeah.
You also are a member of a off-roading club.
Yeah.
So I see you do all these things to keep yourself happy. You would like to tell a little bit about the person who's away from, like, apart from lawyer Devanand Mahadeva, who is Devanand as a person? What do you do in UAE to keep yourself?
I enjoy a lot of other things. Of course, I spend a lot of time in my Rotary Club activities. I travel quite a bit for Rotary. Spend a lot of money on it, on traveling and meeting people, doing quite a bit of service around the world for Rotary. Yeah, that takes a lot of time. Plus, of course, hobby-wise, I'm one of the senior most off-road drivers in this country. I'm a marshal in off-roading, and I spend a lot of time off-roading. And nowadays, I do quite a bit of overlanding.
What's
Driving
overlanding?
through countries.
Oh, wow.
Driving through countries.
So what are the countries you have traveled from?
Nearby countries, of course, I've done Saudi the previous year. Last year, I did up to Jordan. This year, we did Armenia. So driving through on-road and off-road,
that's one of your hobbies.
Interest. And of course, riding as well. I'm sort of a bit retired from adventure riding, but I still ride here.
So in riding, what is your favorite bike and which is your favorite car for off-roading?
Nothing favorite as such. To tell you the truth, the current car, which is a truck, a diesel truck, which I use for off-roading, is my 26th car in the last 24 years in the UAE.
Oh.
So if you ask me a favorite, of course, I'm looking for favorites still.
Okay. And when it comes to bike, which bike you ride?
Of course, I drive a Royal Enfield in UAE as well.
A classic.
Yes, a classic bike. And of course, in different parts of the world, when I travel, we take bikes for rent, which is available locally, and ride it around.
Oh, wonderful. So in one trip, how many of you are there in off-roading when you go to Saudi, Armenia, these places? You travel alone or do you travel in groups?
We travel in groups.
Okay.
So this year when we did Armenia, we were 8 cars.
Okay.
So it's a substantial size of a group. And there were 21 of us. We had families as well. So 21 of us in 8 cars. So it was
so many long hours of driving.
Yes.
And there must be a lot of unpredictable things that happens on the road.
Definitely.
One of your experience that you want to share, which was really, really scary?
It happened last year.
Okay.
The previous year, sorry, in 2023, we had driven into the Rubal Khali, which is the largest sand dune desert. We have driven on the Abu Dhabi side, and we always dreamt of driving in the Saudi side.
Okay.
Legally, about 5 cars. We were 6 of us,
Okay.
and in 5 cars, and we went driving into Saudi, of course, with proper visa, insurance,
Yeah.
everything. We went into this Rubal Khali. We drove about 140 kilometers. But when we tried to get out of the desert, we couldn't get out because there was a huge fencing.
Okay.
So we had a track which I had previously marked when I did the routing in Google Maps. Not Google Maps, Google Earth. We don't use Google Maps in desert. We use Google Earth. And took this track and went, thought I will get to the road with the rest of the team. But we landed up into an oil well.
Oh.
And then, of course, we had to spend 3 days as the guest of the Saudi government and the border guards. And interesting experience because they were so wonderful to us, so nice to us. I'm a vegetarian and they served me vegetarian food compared to the others. So it was like a flight situation. But of course, we were in their control and custody.
It took 3 days for them to
sort
know
it out
who you guys are and everything.
Who we are. And they were a little surprised that I was the leader of the group and I was a lawyer.
Okay.
So they ask you, woman?
That's the perks of being a lawyer.
Yes. So, the most adventurous situation it was. But then, of course, we got back to UAE.
Wonderful. So great knowing this story. Now, since we have spoken about marriages, divorces, child custodies, but there's one part that, again, especially for entrepreneurs in UAE, this is one question which is, they don't think about it a lot, but the consequences are really, really very heavy, which is inheritance and wills. So I really want to know for people who are in UAE, whether they are professionals or they're entrepreneurs, let's say if something happens to them. And if, let's say, there's no will in place, what happens to their assets, money, shares? Do they automatically, it goes to the family, or are there any legal paperwork that has to be done?
I think the most important thing is for people to organize their inheritance. We always try to encourage, and I have done quite a bit of radio shows or podcasts to encourage them, or training or sessions in organizations to tell them it's very important to organize their inheritance. It's not only just writing wills, but overall inheritance, because a lot of people come from countries where there are inheritance taxes, massive amounts of inheritance taxes.
Right.
So having a will in place and organizing your inheritance is a very, very important thing in this part of the world. And as you rightly asked, if you don't have a will, of course, there are a lot of repercussions to it.
Right.
Based on whether you're a Muslim or a non-Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when we come to doing wills, both Muslims and non-Muslims, as far as the expatriates in this country, they are not UAE nationals, they can write their wills. Nothing stops them. But when it comes to when people die without, or people pass away without having a will in place, then the complications arise with application of laws. Right. So for a non-Muslim, the UAE civil law will apply, and for Muslims, the Sharia will apply mandatorily.
Okay. So if little bit details we can know about the civil law, Sharia law. So for example, under civil law, I think after, let's say, for example, if a husband passes away and if a wife and kid, so everything can go to the wife and kid?
Yes. As per the current law, if a husband passes away, the wife gets 50% and the children get equal based on number of children.
And same for wife?
And vice versa. If the wife passes away, because we always talk about husbands passing away, I don't know. It's a bias, but I do come across wives passing away as well.
And nowadays they hold a lot of asset
they hold a lot of assets in their name as well, or joint assets. So if wife passes away, 50% goes to the husband, and the rest of it goes equally between children.
On this topic, do you suggest people in UAE to keep joint a bank accounts, joint properties, or is it okay to have individual accounts and individual assets?
I have to split that question of yours. Joint assets are always fine, not an issue. But if you have joint bank accounts, in UAE, we don't have either or survivor bank accounts.
Okay.
So if you have joint bank accounts and if you put all your money into it, it'll get frozen if one of the spouses passes away. Yeah, as they don't have either or survivor bank accounts, we always advise couples to have separate bank accounts for the husband and the wife. In many times, husbands come and ask a lawyer, my wife is not working or she's a homemaker. How can she have a bank account? Yeah, she can have a savings account. Nothing stops her.
Right.
Only you cannot have a current account if you don't have a labor card or an entrepreneurship partnership or whatever it is. But you can always have a bank account.
Bank account, right? But so they can have one joint account and they can have their own personal accounts as well. That is what you suggest. And
especially if both husband and wife are working and if they have salary accounts, better have it separate.
And what about the assets?
Assets, it's not an issue. Having a joint asset, as far as you have a will in place, the other spouse inherits. We normally do mirror wills, and the other spouse inherits from the.
So this is in case of non-Muslims. What is in the case of Muslims?
In the case of Muslims, if they are not Emirati nationals, they are still allowed to write wills, register wills at ADJD, and we can legally register those documents. There is no issues about it.
Okay.
But if they don't have a will in place, de facto, Sharia will apply.
Okay.
And when a Sharia applies, it gets a bit complicated. When a husband passes away, the wife gets 1/8. The father of the man gets 1/6. The mother gets 1/6. And the children get the residue. With boys getting double of what the girls get.
Okay.
The daughters get half of what the sons
get.
So that sort of complicates it. And if a lady dies, many a times they think if a lady dies, everything goes to the husband. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
That's a misconception. If a lady dies, again, her father gets 1/6, mother gets 1/6, the husband gets a little better deal of 1/4. And the rest of it goes to the children. Again, boys get double of what the girls get.
Okay, so they cannot make the will as per their wish, or even if so what percentage of it they can actually put it in their will?
They can write a will as per their wish.
Okay.
And they can give out 100% of their assets to whoever they want.
Okay. And but if the will is not in place,
then the Sharia will apply.
Okay. And
see, as I told you earlier, if you have a will in place, then you decide what you have to do.
Whether you're a Muslim, whether you're not.
Whether you're a Muslim or a non-Muslim, as far as you're not an Emirati national.
Got it.
But if you don't have a will in place, then the law will decide what has to happen.
Just a question on some really rare cases. Like, for example, if there's no will in place, and let's say the people, they are Muslims, and for example, the parents are not here in the country, and then how, when the distribution is happening, because this logistics will become very difficult, right? Get the family members here in this country.
Everybody gets a share. So that is where it gets complicated. When the parents are not here, then we have to get their documents signed from their respective countries, and then we have to bring it in and sort it out.
And what if they're not alive?
If they're not alive, it's not an issue. Okay. But if you say, for example, if a man dies, a Muslim man dies, and he has left behind only daughters, and if he doesn't have his father, his brothers and sisters become major inheritors.
These are things that they really need to take care of. So it's important for them to prepare this will beforehand. And these wills, once they make, are they renewed every year, or once the will is done? How does it work?
It's for lifetime. Once the will is done, it is done. You don't have to do anything.
But if there are new assets, new things coming up, you can.
No, it's how you get it drafted. If you get professionally done by a law firm, then of course it will be professionally done, and you don't have to change the will as such. I think what you have to understand is maybe in your life, maybe once in 10 or 15 years, you need to relook at the will because your circumstances change, your beneficiaries change. Yeah. Your children settle down different places. You may have grandchildren whom you want to give assets to.
Very true.
So for that reason, you may have to relook at the document. But the latest document which you make is a valid document.
As you know that UAE is a place where most of the entrepreneurs come, and there are a lot of partnerships happening. Like marriage, partnerships are also like marriage, and they can also fall apart like divorce.
Yeah.
So, just an important question. Like, for example, for marriages, they came out with prenups to protect their stuff. So, for entrepreneurs who are getting into partnerships, and for them, what do you suggest? What they can do to protect themselves from any fallouts that can happen between partners?
See, one is having a watertight partnership agreement
Okay.
with a proper exit clause. Most of the partnerships are made with
Friends,
goodwill,
families.
friends, good faith, goodwill, whatever you may call it, and they don't keep proper documentation.
Yeah.
They just have a memorandum and get on with life.
Yeah.
So they need to have proper partnership agreements and they need to have proper exit clause so that when things go wrong or then things go sore, they'd be able to walk out of it without any further trouble or litigation.
Okay.
Now, coming to this is one side of exit. The other exit plan which comes is the inheritance again.
Right.
Inheritance of the business. So there also you need to have proper exit clause, proper business succession planning, what we call.
Right.
Not as inheritance, but we call it as business succession planning, where they have to organize their business succession. Otherwise, the whole goodwill you have built, the whole business you have built comes to a standstill if you don't have a proper business succession.
So, in business succession, what do you think at what stage of business entrepreneurs should plan it? Like, for example, obviously, when the startup stage, when it's a small team, I don't know if that is the right time, or when they grow or they have a big team or the company has gone to a certain turnover. What is the right period in a business when you suggest this succession planning should be done?
Very straightforward. Day one. Day one is when you have to have these documents in place.
Yeah. So otherwise, situations can come where, let's say, if my partner passes away for any reason, and then a family member comes in who doesn't know anything about the business, and things will really become
Becomes a very
difficult
difficult
to.
issue.
So that means in the agreements, we still, if we are doing agreements and succession planning in advance, we can we can put all the clause and we can put everything in place where the family members of the partner will get the benefit. However, will not be able to interfere in the business.
Yes, definitely. So it's what you call demarcating the shareholding and the management.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful in demarcating and have a proper business succession.
So when it comes to wills, most of my clients who are in UAE, they are nationalities of some other country. They have assets in some other countries as well. They have businesses in multiple countries. So once they're registering will in UAE, can they also include their assets, properties, businesses in other countries as well, or will it be applicable only for UAE?
Very interesting question. See, registering a will in UAE is not restricted to UAE residents.
Okay.
Even people who have something in UAE, something of interest, a business or a property or a bank account, they can write wills in UAE. They don't have to be residents in this country.
Okay, even if they're not residents.
Even if they're not residents, they can make a will, provided they have something here.
Even like a company, they can open an offshore company, holding company.
Whatever interest, they have some sort of an interest in this country, they can make a will. They can register a will. You don't have to have an Emirates ID to register a will.
Register a will. Okay.
In simple terms.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to, as you rightly said, we have, more than 80% of expatriates in this country, and they are from different countries and this thing. It all depending on their nationality, how we make wills in this country.
Okay.
Some nationalities, we split the documents. We make a separate document for UAE because the system here is faster. A probate, what we call, when a will has to be implemented when a person passes away, it is faster. But in many other countries, it takes a longer time. So we split it and we make a separate document from their country of nationality. And in some cases, if it is not possible, then we make a holistic document. So it all depends on, you have to get your legal advice based on your nationality, how this whole inheritance planning can be done, not just writing wills here and there.
Okay. So it So you'll have to keep everything in consideration, the laws of that country
Yes.
and this country.
This country, yes.
So not necessarily that for every national, the wills that they make here will include everything in all countries. But there are possibilities. So they'll have to get a proper consultation for that.
Proper advice how to go about doing it.
Okay. So one topic just came in my mind, a very sensitive subject, but when it comes to inheritance, and when it comes to minor children, what happens then? Like if there are minor children or there's somebody who is not capable of handling things yet, and let's say parents passed away or the guardians passed away, what happens then? How do that situation works?
It's a very, very important question because I always tell clients, more than all the assets you have accumulated, more than the properties, your businesses, your jewelry, your cars, whatever it is, the most important asset you have are your children. And you have to protect them.
Right.
That is very, very important. And a will is most important, mainly to protect the children. Okay. So now what happens if there is no will in place? The two of the major problems which happens is that one is they don't they inherit as minors, they inherit, but they can't use it. You understand? It gets frozen and locked into bank accounts. Cars cannot be sold because the minors have shares in it when you divide it among them. So many people come to me and say, oh, the new civil law is nice, like the wife gets 50%, children get the rest of it. Okay, it's within the family. I have no issues. I don't need a will. But what happens is that if the children are minor, it goes into minor assets. So a man passes away and the lady inherits 50% and 50% goes to the children. She can't go and sell the car.
Okay.
Do you understand? She can't go and sell the property.
Yeah.
Because you need to get a court order to sell a minor asset and you have to convince the judge that why you are selling this.
Right. So the guardianship has to be defined.
Yes. So what happens is that we normally write between the spouses, not keeping anything for the minor children, not to complicate situation.
Right.
Now, coming to guardianship, now it's again differs between Muslims and non-Muslims. And non-Muslims, of course, it will go between the spouses. And if both parents are not there, again, we are in a limbo. Who will become the guardian unless we have a will document?
Right.
Do you understand? If you have a will documentary, you can
assign somebody or
assign somebody. Many people come and say, my next guardian will be my sister in US. And I hold a different passport. And what happens if you don't have guardianship? Your sister cannot take up guardianship and take the children to US. But if you have made a will and said that so and so is the guardian, she can prove that will and then go and give it to the authorities in US and say, see, these kids I'm the official guardian. As per the court order, I need to take these children and adopt them and I have to keep them in US. Please give me a visa. Do you understand? So it helps in that way if you have a will in place with regard to guardianship, especially when both parents pass away or the children are of a single parent. We have a lot of single parents in this country where the children are minor and there is only one person left, or either because of they losing the other spouse for death or a divorce or custody or whatever it is.
Right.
So it has to be very, very important. The guardianship is very important in a will document. So that has to be defined.
Wonderful. So just imagine there's so much of information, and because of lack of information comes ignorance, and then that ignorance leads to major consequences in our lives. And I think
it's a very important point you say as ignorance. Yes, there are a lot of people who are not aware of the consequences or they don't think of the consequences. But the most important thing is denial.
Yeah.
All of us are in a denial that the eventuality will happen to us, that one day we have to leave this Mother Earth.
We'll have to think about the best case scenario.
We don't think of that it's going to come to us one day and we don't know when it is.
Yes.
So it's better to be prepared than not being prepared. But we are in a denial. So that is the major challenge which we face.
What is your mantra to keep yourself sane after dealing with such critical and sensitive subjects like death, custody, divorce, so much of, I don't know if I can say it negativity, but such challenging situations around you. So, how do you keep yourself sane, or what is the mantra, what's the philosophy that you use?
I like that wording, challenging.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it is challenging what we deal with because we deal with people. Unlike other legal practices where you're dealing with businesses or disputes and things like that, where we are dealing with sentiments of people or
Right.
problems of people. So when you look at it, yeah, you have to be clinical there. As a lawyer, I'm very clinical. I don't take it to heart.
Right.
These things, what has to happen. You take it clinical. Like I would compare ourselves to an oncologist. The other practices of medicine, they always give, a gynecologist is very nice. They give a good news.
Right.
And if you look at other professions, they try to treat people.
Right.
But if you look at an oncologist, he gives a bad news always. Because he's a guy in the last resort, he always gives you the bad news of you having some sort of a cancer. So it's like that, it's very. But so you take it clinically and walk out of it once you leave the office or once you this thing and get on with things. Of course, my hobbies and interests take me away from
Keep your
this.
mind diverted.
It gets I'm busy with those things, so it gets diverted.
Awesome. Before I come to the last question, just I thought to also, create this awareness among people, because a lot of time people think that maybe will planning, inheritance planning, succession planning, is it very expensive in UAE, or is it pretty economical, or maybe much competitive than other countries? How does it work?
It's not expensive here. If you Google, you will get all sorts of information. But inheritance plans is exercise. When you compare to the amount of investments you do in this country,
Right.
do you understand? Like you buy a decent car here, costs somewhere 75,000 to 100,000 dirhams.
Exactly.
A decent car, a brand new decent car will cost you somewhere around. I'm not talking about a budget car or a luxurious car. A decent car, 75 to 100,000 dirhams.
Right.
That is of value for you. Forget assets, forget properties. That itself has to be inherited by somebody.
Right.
And it causes fraction of the cost of that car, not even the down payment amount of that car, to organize your inheritance.
So now, what is that one suggestion from the lawyer Devanand Mahadeva to the expats living in UAE to keep themselves responsible and legally safe?
Stick to the laws, follow the laws. One. The other thing is organize your documents, organize your inheritance, keep your documents clear. Not only inheritance documents, even your bank documents,
Any
your
documents.
property documents, your rental documents, everything. Keep it clean and nice so that one day something happens to you, your family doesn't have to
Suffer.
run from pillar to post.
It should be a one file away.
It's because losing a person, it's already a shock. Losing a loved one is already a shock. And don't leave behind further shocks of financial and other challenges by not keeping proper documents and not being organized.
Right. So I think the most responsible thing to do will be to prepare for your after death situation.
Your departure.
Your departure.
Your heavenly abode, as I favorably say.
Yes, the heavenly abode. And the last question is, what suggestion the person Devanand Mahadeva would like to give to people to calm themselves or be, you can say, composed when these kind of, because any of these situations that we spoke about today in a person's life is literally a roller coaster. And it can be very common or easy to lose your mind in these kind of situations and not being in a situation to take the right decision or work towards the right steps. So what is one daily life hack you would like to give people so that they are prepared for these kind of situations? Your preparation cannot be on that day. It has to come before.
I would always say get proper advice for anything and get professional advice. What happens is that people tend to get advice from everybody in the family, everybody, whether it is starting a business or getting into a job or organizing their inheritance or getting into a marriage, whatever it is. Take informed decisions after getting the right advice from the right professionals than taking your own self-medication.
Very true.
or relying on Auntie Google or Uncle Wikipedia.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all fine. I mean, for information's sake, it's fine. But when it comes to your individual self, always have professional advice taken, whatever it may be, whether it's medical, legal, business, or profession, whatever it is. Get proper advice and live your life.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for such an insightful session. And I'm sure me and our audience got a very, very detailed answer of these simple questions, which are a must knows, but we still don't know. So thank you so much for that. And I'm sure our audience will like the our podcast. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask us or write us your questions in the details given below in the caption. Thank you so much, audience, for watching us today. I hope you liked the video. Feel free to tell us next time what topics you would like to hear and what you would like to know more. It was pleasure hosting this session for you guys. This is Rupa Jha signing out from the Business Blueprint, powered by Blackstone Business Setup Services. Thank you and bye bye.